What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Pack a Day podcast. Happy Saturday. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. Simple show for you today. I'm going to be going over my bold predictions earlier in the season, owning up to the ones I got wrong, way over bragging about the ones I got right. We'll get there in just a moment. We did have some breaking Packers news. Per Field Yates, the Packers are going to be hiring Byron Storer as their assistant special teams coach. Worked in that same role with the Raiders under Rich Bisaccia over the last 4 seasons. By the way, also college teammates with a certain Aaron Rodgers at Cal. So interesting note there. The one thing, at least as I'm recording this, that we do not know is what this means for assistant special teams coach Reyna Stewart. As of this time, he had still been the assistant special teams coach under Rich Bisaccia. At least that's how it was listed on the website. There had been no reports that Reyna was going to be let go or reassigned or anything like that. So a couple things. One, they could go with 3 special teams coaches, which would certainly go a long way in saying, hey, this is something that matters tremendously. We're going to pay Rich Bisaccia to be the highest paid special teams coordinator, and we're going to have 2 assistant special teams coaches to really get the most out of this. So that could be one. They could move on from Reyna Stewart. That's certainly another aspect that could happen. They also could reassign Reyna Stewart. He has experience as a defensive assistant in the past, so they could look to maybe move him as an assistant coach somewhere else on the team. Only time will tell, but as of recording this, again, per Field Yates, Green Bay will be getting a new assistant special teams coach. And again, Reyna Stewart, we don't know what's going to happen with him. Byron Storer, again, is the new assistant special teams coach. All right. Moving along away from special teams, I mentioned this to someone the other day. I don't even know who I said it to. It may have been Matt Ram. I don't even know. It doesn't matter. I just want the special teams to get to the point where I never have to think about or talk about them ever again. Like, that's the point where I'm at. If I don't have to talk about any special teams, like, just do anything so that I don't have to mention you, I would be forever grateful for the Packers special teams. I don't even need the good stuff. I just don't want the bad stuff. Just anything where it's the most nondescript thing in the world, because I am sick and tired of special teams talking about them, and I never want to talk about them ever again. So, Rich Bisaccia, that is your goal. That is my one request. Just make the special teams as nondescript as possible. Let's keep the coordinators and assistant coaches the same. I just don't want to talk about it anymore. So that is my goal for Rich Bisaccia and the Packers special teams moving forward. All right, quickly today, I want to go over, own up to my mistakes and brag about the things that I got right, which, to be fair, was not very much. These were my 12 bold predictions prior to the start of the season. So, again, these are bolder predictions. So if I got all of them right or even close, they probably weren't very bold predictions in the first place. But here were my predictions. Some I was close, some I was very far off, and luckily a couple I did get right. So number 1, the Packers will start the season 7-0. Wasn't terribly far off. They did go on a 7-game win streak to start the season. Unfortunately, nobody let the Packers know that the season actually started when they went to Jacksonville to take on the New Orleans Saints, and that wasn't actually the 4th preseason game. They get blown out in that game and then reel off the 7 straight that I was expecting to start the season. It just took a 1-game delay. So I will still take the L here. I did expect them to get off to a strong, hot start. I did expect them to be at 7-1. Otherwise, I would have said an 8-game win streak. So if I would have said Green Bay will start 7-1 in their first 8 games, I would have got it right. But I am bending my own words from the past, and I will own up and say, technically, I did, of course, get that one wrong. Number 2, I said Adrian Amos will have the best season of his career. I'm not going to take a win here. Adrian Amos had the exact same season of his career that he's basically had throughout his entire career. He is just the most, like, I talk about special teams being nondescript. Like, Adrian Amos is just the most consistent nondescript player. You very rarely are going to talk about his peaks. You very rarely are going to talk about his mistakes. He's just there doing his job, punching the the pay clock or the time clock, getting in, getting out, and just doing a hard day's work. Like, that's Adrian Amos. And at some point, and one of the reasons I made this prediction, like he does so many good things that he's just bound to be in the right place at the right time eventually more often and have a season where he has 6, 7, 8 interceptions just by pure happenstance. It hasn't happened, but he had another really good season. I don't think it was his best overall season, but basically all of his seasons in Green Bay and even his last handful in Chicago were basically the same player over and over and over again. So another really nice season, but I don't think I could define it as the best of his career. Number 3, a hard miss here. Robert Tonyan will make the Pro Bowl. Now, I could take a scapegoat approach here and say, well, he got hurt, so we're going to count that one as a incomplete or an NA. The truth is that prior to getting hurt, he did not look up to his standard from even a season ago. He wasn't as involved in the offense, wasn't doing much, which was surprising because anyone that was at training camp, Robert Tonyan was one of the MVPs. Like, he was phenomenal. He was blocking well, run after the catch, hitting, Rodgers hitting him up the seam consistently. Like, he looked phenomenal. And for whatever reason, it just didn't carry over to the start of the season. And then, of course, he tears his ACL, and the rest is history. So, again, could take the easy scapegoat approach here and say, well, he got hurt, so we don't really know. I just don't think he was trending in that direction, even if he had not gotten hurt. Maybe he could have had an insane second half of the season. You never quite know. But either way, taking this one as an L, Robert Tonyan did not make the Pro Bowl. Number 4, Rashawn Gary leads the team in sacks. That one is correct. Rashawn Gary was, in fact, the sack leader for Green Bay, and I will take that as a win. And this may seem like, very obvious in hindsight, but remember, you're going into a season where Za'Darius Smith was expected to be the Packers sack leader. You had Preston Smith, who basically had all the incentive in the world to get as many sacks as possible. So and then even you have a Kenny Clark inside where that certainly wouldn't have been a huge shock either. So I don't know, it's not like this insanely bold prediction by any stretch of the imagination. However, I will take this as a win. He had 9.5 sacks. I wanted to look that up here. So if you notice my eyes popping around, Rashawn Gary, 9.5 sacks, finishes a half sack ahead of Preston Smith on the season. So just barely, but I will take my win where I can get it. Number 5, probably my boldest prediction, probably my most wrong result. Royce Newman will finish the season as Pro Football Focus's top-graded rookie offensive lineman. That wasn't even close. Was not even close, and I should be embarrassed for saying such things. That one was a shot in the dark, I'm not going to lie. I thought he looked pretty darn good in training camp, and he looked good enough where every season there's some random offensive lineman who starts and just plays really well out of nowhere, and I thought there was going to be a chance that maybe that was Royce Newman. I think all things considered, Royce Newman had a pretty solid season, considering he's a 4th-round pick thrust into action. However, nowhere near being Pro Football Focus's top-rated rookie offensive lineman. So a hard loss there. Number 6, I said the Packers would go undefeated, 6-0 in the division. They went 4-2. They lost that last game to the Lions, which didn't really matter, but they also lost to the Vikings on the road. So 4-2, and certainly not an undefeated 6-0 on the season. Number 7, finally got another one right here. I said that Nathaniel Hackett would get a head coaching job in 2022, and of course, he is now the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Number 8, I said that Jordan Love would have his Aaron Rodgers Dallas Cowboys moment, and what I meant by that was when Brett Favre went down injured against the Cowboys, and Rodgers came in for about a half of football, and he looked phenomenal and showed Green Bay that, hey, this might be the guy moving forward. Well, Jordan Love had a couple opportunities, including a start against the Chiefs, as well as a second half against the Lions. Just didn't show anything like Aaron Rodgers showed in that Dallas Cowboys game. So he did get his moment. He did get his Dallas Cowboys Aaron Rodgers moment, just didn't live up to what Aaron Rodgers did in that particular game. Number 9, I said that this would be the last dance for this Packers team. I specifically mentioned that I thought it would be the last season for Aaron Rodgers, Mason Crosby, Preston Smith, Randall Cobb, and Kevin King. I also made mention of Za'Darius Smith, MVS, Devontae Adams, and Adrian Amos. Just going off that initial list that I said, as of right now, I think Rodgers is going to be back. I think Crosby's going to be gone. I think Preston's going to be back. I think if Rodgers is back, I expect Cobb to be back on a really small minimum deal. And then I actually think that there's a decent chance that Kevin King could be back as well. So I think overall there's going to be some guys that certainly are not here that, had a last dance, but this ultimately, the way that it's potentially trending is more looking like it's going to have one more last dance 2.0. And a lot of the guys I mentioned, I think as of this point, are actually going to be back. So a little bit yet to be determined, but certainly not taking a win there as of this point. Number 10, I said Davante Adams would break Jordy Nelson's receiving record. Number 3, right, the extra game you could argue helped, but overall, Davante Adams, tremendous season and rightfully passed Jordy Nelson with the season that he had. Number 11, I said that the Packers would lose to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That did not happen. Green Bay disappointed us 2 games earlier, losing in the division round, of course, to the 49ers. And last but not least, Eric Stokes, by the end of the season, will be the starter at cornerback ahead of Kevin King. I will take that as a win as well. Maybe not a super bold prediction, but either way, I will take it as a win. So overall, I made 12 bold predictions. I had 4 of them right. Rashawn Gary leading the team in sacks, Nathaniel Hackett getting a head coaching job, Davante Adams breaking Jordy Nelson's single-season receiving record for the Packers, and Eric Stokes starting ahead of Kevin King. 4 out of 12, not ideal, not where I would like to been at. A few of them were close. If I would have been at like 7 of 12, I would have felt really, really good. But alas, it is what it is. I will take whatever punishment I have for failing on 8 of those predictions. I will take my 4 that I got right, and I will hold my head as high as possible. That is going to do it for me today. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate you as always. I'll be right back here tomorrow. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.